Vindication is unlike any crime show you have ever seen. Not only is it entertaining and suspenseful, but it has a light, amplifying heart. Today we are joined by Todd Terry, who plays Detective Travis, and Venus Monique, who plays Detective Chris. If you haven't seen the show, you can watch seasons 1 through 4 right now by joining the Angel Guild at angel.com/vindication. And stay tuned to the end of the show to play a police lingo quiz game alongside the actors. And without further ado, here's the interview. Thank you so much for joining us, Todd and Venus. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
It's a pleasure to have you both on. And I think just for the sake of time, and I know you guys are very busy, so we'll just jump into the first question. These are the questions people want to hear. And the first question is, I would love to find out just how you both got connected to the show. Did you hear about it through the grapevine, or was it just another audition? Todd, why don't we start with you with that first question?
Sure. I was at a Christian Media Association meeting. They had a monthly here in Dallas back in the day. This was, I say, 11 years ago, maybe 10, 11 years ago. And I was speaking on a panel about something else I'd done. And after the meeting, Jared O'Flaherty, the director of Vindication, came up and said, "Hey, I'm doing a short film. Would you like to be involved?" And I said, "Absolutely." Didn't know him. Did the short film, and then I can go into the story. There's a little story behind kind of what happened. If you want me to go ahead and go into that.
Please.
So we shot the short film. Didn't hear a word. Probably, I would say, within the year. He was putting in festivals, and there was a festival in Austin that Venus, I believe, Venus, weren't you organizing it, or you were hosting the festival? And is it the Attic? Was that it? The Attic Festival? So I went there and just, to watch the film and see the audience's reaction. And then after it was over, we were in the parking lot, and Jared said, "I'm thinking about turning this into a series." And I'm like, wow. I mean, any actor I would think would go, "What? Yeah, please hire me."
Yeah.
And so he said, probably thinking about making your character more the central person in the deal. And it's an ensemble cast. It's not, I'm the lead. There's a lot of leads in this, but long story short, he did it. And he said, I think he told me there, Venus was, he was going to hire Venus, but I didn't understand, what the big picture was, because we didn't see scripts until literally before we shot. And we shot that first whole season, season 1, over probably a 2 to 3 year period.
Really?
I think it was, it was like 2015 was the short. 2017, we shot our first episode, and we didn't end until 2018 on our final episode. So it was quite a process, but I watched season 1 again last night just to refresh my memory. And, I was really pleasantly surprised. You let something sit for a while and you come back to it, and it takes a ramp up. I will tell the audience, It takes a ramp up. Get into episode 3 and 4, and the family starts becoming involved, and that story really fills out. Yeah. So, don't stop on 2, because 2 is kind of is a standalone unto itself. But you start getting the family in after that. Venus, you talk. Sorry, I'm long-winded.
So Todd kind of mentioned it. So I was working at a Christian film festival in Austin, Texas, and the previous year at that festival, I had won the Best Actress Award. So then this year, Vindication was showing, and I was the MC, so I was interviewing the filmmakers, and Jared was there, and Todd, and some of the other cast from the very first episode, which was a short film. Mm-hmm. So I interviewed them and got to know them, and I remember we were outside of a restaurant later that evening, and I think initially Jared and his team were like, they were kind of at the end of the rope. They were like going to show it at this festival, and that was kind of it. But because they kept getting the good feedback, they considered turning it into a series. And Jared had asked me, "Hey, if this turns into a series, would you want to come on and be a detective?" And I was like, yeah. Like same as Todd. Of course, I'm not going to hold my breath at all, but I thought, well, that would be really fun. And I didn't realize he had already gone I guess because he knew I knew an award or won an award, he had gone through my YouTube channel and watched a bunch of my acting videos. So he kind of already got an idea of who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the time finally came for that role to be available. And at that time, God had taken me out of acting. And he had like paused my acting. And I thought, oh my goodness, Lord, like, I know that you're calling me to pause the acting, but I also know that you have just put this role in my lap. So what do you want me to do? Like, I don't know. And so Jared had messaged me. He was like, hey, I know that you've stepped away from acting, but that role is available. Why don't you pray about it and let me know? I was like, okay. And I was praying hard because I just felt like both of these were from God. And through a prayer, God has answered me in a crazy, beautiful way. And it was basically like, yes, vindication is for you. So I said yes to Jared, and vindication was the only thing I did while God had me paused on acting. I pursued nothing else. And so God just kind of used vindication to, I don't know, keep me rolling in it. And that's how I got involved.
That's very cool. And I love the whole, it seems like it was a very long journey for both of you. And having watched the series, and speaking to Jared as well in our last interview, the director, I'm grateful, and I know the audience is extremely grateful as well that you guys stuck with this show. Because I agree, Todd, with you. It is a bit of a slow burn in the first few episodes, and the director, Jared, agreed with that. But boy, does it heat up and really get going into season 2 and 3, and now with season 4 being released on the Angel Guild, I think today. So go and watch that, guys. It's angel.com/vindication. You'll find it there. Join the guild, watch it. You're missing out if you haven't seen this show. So binge it. It's very binge-worthy. But something that I have heard from a lot of the viewers who have seen the show is they've categorized it as a crime series with a heart. And I'd love to ask you guys a question about that. What do you think Vindication, what do you think makes Vindication different comparing other crime series dramas and all of that? Is there a difference?
Venus, you want to go?
Sure. I definitely think so. I used to love crime dramas, but they just became so gory and blatant, and it was just, there's a lot of mess in there. Even though I liked the mystery, the mess I just stopped watching them. And so with Vindication, there is still the crime drama, and there is still that mental journey that you get to go on in the series, but there's also the wholesome aspect to it where you don't have to worry about the kinds of scenes that you're going to see or the conversations that are going to be had. And you just actually feel good when you watch it, and you kind of get your convictions tested. I remember telling Jared shortly after maybe like season 2 or season 1, I was like, the slogan should really be challenge your assumptions, because we all assume that we know something, or we assume that we are catching the drift of what's going on. And then all of a sudden there's that twist in there that Jared does so well of putting into everything. And you just have like a heart check, and you're like, oh, my bad. I was really judging them too, or I was really, going on this journey. And so it does check your heart. Like the audience said, it is a heart crime drama with heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a really good writer. I mean, he has Easter eggs, all his foreshadowing. He's got all the elements of a great, crime drama in general. And it's part procedural, and it's part character-driven crime drama. So it's got all those great elements of shows like Blue Bloods and, Law and Order. I mean, it's not those shows, obviously. And as seasons go, one season goes to another, production value increases. And so really it holds its own. I say the special thing about it, what you said about a crime drama with heart, that's a great way to describe it. I always said, it's gritty without being gratuitous. And it, it's got a strong faith message without, beating you over the head, if you want to say. It's not preachy in the sense of it's people living their lives and expressing their faith and what their challenges are. And it doesn't shy away from hard topics, which I love that, because I really love a good crime drama. And then when it starts getting, a bunch of stuff in it, then, it's like, it just, it eats at you. But, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
No, I totally get that. And So you guys have booked the show. Filming started. You are made aware that this is a unique crime series, but of course you're still portraying law enforcement. And I'd love to have a question about that. What does it look like in prepping for a role, playing an officer or a detective or anything? Was there any sort of prep work that you guys did in preparing for that? We can start with Todd.
Okay. I mean, I live in an area that has a lot of cops, and I have a buddy of mine, an actor friend who's a cop, and I've done a ride along, things like that. But I mean, there's no preparation. I don't live that life. I have to try to bring it to screen in a way that's hopefully believable. But and a lot of it is just, I think, having an investigative mindset on, especially when you're, talking to people and I probably watched too many of those 48-hour shows and seen a lot of them. But, it's like every cop or detective is going to have a different spin on how they work to get to the result. And so I know there's not a one size fits all, but for me, it was just kind of exploring that and taking information that I had received, whether it was from a police officer or just shows that I've watched. That really is more of my bigger prep, and just the basic interest in criminology and, what that mindset is.
Interesting. And Venus, did you have a certain prep style in preparing for this role?
I feel like if I could redo college, I would probably do something along these lines because I really enjoy it. But as far as preparation, I kind of did the same preparation I would do for any role, and just making sure that I have a true backstory for my character and I know why I became a detective and why, these certain things. And I do know that there were terms that I had to look up and make sure that I understood them, either that somebody else was saying in their lines or that I had to say, so that I could make sure I sound like somebody who works in law enforcement because I don't know a lot, and I don't really have any, like Todd has, friends and people who are cops and law enforcement. I don't have a lot of those. So there was no one that I really reached out to do it. And at the same time, my character was a trainee, so not necessarily a seasoned law enforcement officer. And so it was okay if I didn't know certain things. But that was pretty much my preparation, was just like any other acting role.
Very cool. And a very specific question in regards to the role, but I feel like when I watch a lot of crime series, a lot of people have law enforcement voices to where I feel like that's a big part of the character. And did you guys have to practice and or perfect your law enforcement voice?
No.
I feel like me, it'd be like I'd have to lower it a few octaves because, like, I don't want to sound strange when I'm like, open the door,
No, I agree with you. I think it's coming from a place of authority. I don't know if it's necessarily doing something, but it's funny when I was younger, and I played DEA and cops and other shows, but I just noticed over time, sometimes I'd watch stuff back and I go, my voice is too high. So I probably tend to go a little lower when doing, this show or shows like this, because there's some bit of authority with a, maybe a more of a bass tone. But no, I don't think it's something that it's like, it's got to sound like this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say it's funny that you're asking this, Micah, because I never thought twice about it. But I will say that my husband, anytime I talk with a high pitched, he's like, "Bean, I can't hear that tone." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry." And then so I just dropped my tone. But I didn't think about that for Vindication, though.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that popped up in my mind because I just put myself there and I'm like, I would sound so strange in that scenario. But thank you for that. Another question I had was, what was it like working specifically with this Vindication cast and crew? Something that's really great about television series is that you have your core cast, of course, but there are a lot of alternating characters and people that come through the show. And what is it like working with all of these different people from episode to episode? Do you have any fun stories or anything like that?
Go for it, Todd.
No, I was thinking of, so I think it was in season 1. First of all, the crew is amazing. And we most every season have had the majority of the same crew. And there's nothing better than that because you're a family and you feel relaxed and you're going to a job you love and you're not stressed out and worried. And so that's a big, big, big plus. But yeah, we used to like the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. That's my team, even though they're not very good right now. Or they haven't been in a little while. But we'd watch them during takes. And I remember we would literally be on the phone watching and Jerry would go, and action, phone down and go. But that was because we were so comfortable in the environment and knowing, where we were. And that took a while to build up. I'll say this, developing a character on a show like this, because in our case, we didn't get every script, like the whole season of scripts. So we didn't know really where we were going. So in a sense, we're making it up on the day and developing and understanding our characters as we go along, which I think is great because you're always reflecting back on something that was in another episode. You're like, okay, this is who this guy is and this is what he's going to do and how he's going to respond. And I love that. I loved that way of working, although it did span, the time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love, same as Todd. The crew, so great. A lot of repeat crew members, which is amazing. And I think part of what is fun about it is we also tend to see each other on other projects because most of us are Christians. And so we all will bounce into each other at a film festival or another Christian project. And it's like, hi, and you're friends. And like when you reunite, it's on any set. It's so exciting. But I don't have any specific memories that stand out. But I just, everybody says when you're on set, it's like a family, and it truly is. And you get to know people's spouses and their kids and their personal, enjoyment things that they like to do. And so it really just becomes a wonderful atmosphere of friendship and camaraderie.
No, I love that. And back to Todd's first answer, I remember saying what that first season took forever to film. So to have a crew specifically that's committed to that sort of timeline is amazing. Yeah. So I'm sure the people behind the show, actors, crew, like, wow, to have the heart to continue and to keep going until the show's done that's great. And of course, we're benefiting from that with the show.
Yeah, and I'll credit a lot of that to Todd, to Jared, to Ron Gonzalez, our DP, because they are the leaders in the whole thing. And so they set the tone for a lot of it. And if they are coming in rigid and rough and rude, that's going to reflect on the whole crew. But they come in and they've got jovial personalities and kind personalities and calm demeanors. And it just sets the tone for the entire shoot, the entire way through. So that really plays a part in why it's such a joy to be a part of.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and it's appreciating and being grateful. I mean, this is a great opportunity. I mean, it's an independent production, episodic television production, and you don't find a lot of these, that have had this kind of longevity that you don't have a big studio behind or, so it's unique in that. And it's a special experience and been really grateful to be a part of it.
I maybe, speaking out of turn here, but maybe this is how Jared feels. I feel like this is how he felt this one night. We had a very, very cold shoot, and it was
I know.
Season 1. Was it episode 6? No,
episode 4.
Very, very cold. And it was a very late night. We were freezing, but we had to get all the shots. And something about Jared's demeanor made me think that he wasn't sure if anyone was going to quit that night or if we were going to stick it out. And I think when he saw that everybody stuck it out, nobody left. We all had the freedom to leave. We're all independent contractors. We could walk at any time. But knowing that we were all in it, like for the long haul, regardless of how uncomfortable it was, I think that gave him a confidence of who his crew and who his cast is. Yeah. And when Jared watches this, he can tell me, like, no, that's not how I felt at all. I felt like he may have felt that.
No, I love that. My final question before we get to the law enforcement lingo quiz game which everyone watching now, get ready, prepare. You can play along. It'll be great. But my final question is on an acting side of things. A lot of times, you're with a character for a short amount of time, and then that's it. That's the character. You did your job, and it goes out into the world. But with television, you get to spend time with your characters for an extended period of time, of course, throughout seasons or episodes or what have you. And my question is, what do you feel, or do you feel like your character had a good arc to where you were really able to sink your teeth into as an actor? And I'd love if you could just speak to that time you've spent with these characters on Vindication. And whoever would like to start, please.
You go ahead, Venus.
Yeah, I love the emotional range that my character, Chris Tanner, got to experience because she comes in, not to share everything, but she comes in green in her work. She also comes in green in her faith. And well, there was no faith actually, but through the course of everything of the seasons, Jared wrote me some very deep experiences that I had to go through in my character. And it was the faith journey, and it was the work journey, and it was the personal journey of Chris Tanner with her brother. So there was a lot that I got to experience. And as actors, you really want to do that. It's one thing when you're just constantly playing a character that lives here, but it's another when you get to play a character that has this. And so I think it was maybe season 2 and 3 or 1 and 2, just a lot of emotional stuff for Chris. And actually, I think it was at the end of maybe season 3. I was like, so would it be okay if like maybe another character has an emotional, roller coaster in the next season and Chris take a break? Because I was grateful for it, but it also requires a lot of homework to make it true. And I just thought, maybe somebody else can do their thing. But I absolutely love that I got to do that and play with so many ranges within Chris.
I love that.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, that Jared does that really well. He writes great character arcs for the characters, and you don't know where you're going sometimes until you've gotten there and you go, okay, here we are. But yeah, and anything that's based on wounds that are maybe family related for me is very powerful. Is an access point to find that thing in a character, and Travis has that with a few members of the family, which has been really nice. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than that, is having a character arc. But I think he does that for most everyone in the show. I mean, he does a really great job of that. TC's character, I mean, he's always trying to develop what I think the audience is going, I want to know more about that person. And so it's not just about one individual person.
No, that's really great. And yeah, I think especially from season 1 to season 2, I feel like you were saying, Todd, every character I feel is like going through something that grows them as a character, whether it's tied to their vocation as a police officer or whether it's tied to their faith. There are a lot of really big things that, it's like a lot of times it's like the crime's the big thing in a crime series. It's like, that's it. It's like, that's what's weighing heavy on everybody. It's this thing at work that happened, to where this show, I feel like it's a bigger picture of a whole human, not just as a police officer. It's very beautiful in that way. So that's something I appreciated about the show. And just once again, thank you both for putting your heart and soul into these characters. I think it really shows. It really comes out on screen, and I'm excited for the Angel audience to jump in and binge season 1 through 3 before season 4 releases today or whenever you watch it. It's probably out right now, so go see it. Angel.com/Vindication. You see it down there on the screen, the QR code. Scan it if you have to. But with that, I think now is a great time to dive into the Vindication Police Lingo Quiz. So let's go. It's multiple choice. For those who are watching and want to play along, all you need is just a piece of paper, or you can just remember your points in your head if you'd like. It's multiple choice, so it'd just be A, B, C, or D. I'll read out the questions, write it down, and we're going to have Venus and Todd give us their answers as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and start with that first question. What does the acronym APB stand for? All People Broadcast, All Points Bulletin, Automatic Police Backup, Alert Police Bureau. Let's start with Venus on this one.
C.
C, and Todd?
B, All Points Bulletin.
B. Okay, it is B. All Points Bulletin is the answer. So good job, Todd.
Well, she was my trainee, so yes, one up.
Just years on the force, you just, yeah. Okay, next question is, what is the purpose of a Miranda warning? Is it to inform someone of their right to remain silent and to have an attorney, to warn someone of an impending criminal charge, to notify a suspect of their parole violation, or to inform the public of a missing person? Do we got it?
A.
Yeah?
A.
A, and Venus?
Also,
A as well? Well, that is correct. It is A. It is to inform someone of their right to remain silent and to have an attorney. That one I knew. A lot of these I didn't, but I felt pretty comfortable with my background of police TV shows that I got that one.
That was a Supreme Court decision in 1966, and that's the year I was born.
There you go.
oh,
Wow.
Nancy.
Okay, question 3. What is a BOLO in law enforcement? A warning signal, a criminal background check, a be on the lookout alert, or a list of suspects?
Yep, I'm gonna go with C.
C.
Yep. C.
Okay, good.
And that is correct. It's a be on the lookout alert. This one was a little tricky because I feel like A would have worked as well because it is a warning signal. Be on the lookout, But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, no, that's right. Okay, next question is, which term refers to a location where a suspect is held in custody? Is it a holding cell, a safe house, a jailhouse, or an interrogation room? And I think, Todd, you're up on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with holding cell, but it could be a safe house as well, depending on the situation, but holding cell.
Venus?
Also A.
Also, that is correct. It is A. It is a holding cell. Okay. Let us know in the comments how you're doing. I'm sure everyone's doing quite well. Better than I would do, for sure. Okay, next question is, what is CODIS in criminal investigations? Is it Criminal Operation Digital Information System, a combined DNA index system, a criminal online database information system, or a criminal officer's data investigative system? It's a lot of words.
You did well.
I think Venus, this one's for you.
I'm voting C.
C, and Todd?
And I'm going with B, DNA.
Okay, it is B. It is the DNA system. Oh, man.
Does this determine whether we get to keep our role or get fired?
Yeah, you may lose your job.
This is actually season 5 auditions right here. So,
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay. Next question is, what does FTO... Oh, sorry, let me go back. Next question is, what does FTO stand for in police training? A field training officer, a federal training officer, or forensic training officer, or a first-time officer? I think, Todd, you're up on this one. Or did I get that wrong?
It's Todd.
It's Todd.
I'm gonna go with field training officer. A.
A as well? Well, A it is. That is correct. It is a field training officer. You guys are doing great. Like, I think very much above passing. So if this was an actual law enforcement quiz, I think you'd be killing it.
Well,
Woo.
we may get our badge
Yeah.
after all.
Yeah. Which police term refers to the evidence presented in a court to prove guilt? An affidavit, a testimony, a corpus delicti, I'm going to guess, or a subpoena?
Prove
It's
guilty.
my turn, and I'm going to remove A, B, and D because I kind of know what those are, so I'm just by default going with C.
And Todd, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll go with C. Corpus and body of evidence.
That
Corpus
was
delicti.
that was a very good police detective narrowing down work, because that's exactly what it is. It is C. Because I also didn't know what any of the other, like the D or C was the only one I didn't know what it was. So, no, that's great. Next is, what does SWAT stand for in law enforcement? A special weapons and tactics, special weapons and training, strategic warfare and tactics, or security weapons and tactics? And I believe, Todd, you're on this one.
Yeah, I think I know it because it's the most used word ever. I think it's A, special weapons and tactics.
And what do you
But then
think?
I'm
I'm
also-
You think A?
A.
Okay.
Okay, well, it is A. That is correct. You both got it.
Oh.
Yeah. 2 more questions for you, and then we'll tally up everything, and I'll tell you how you did. Okay, next question is, what is an interrogation room used for? To provide medical treatment to suspects, to hold suspects awaiting trial, to ask questions about the crime, or to store evidence? Venus, you're up on this one.
C.
C, and Todd, do you agree?
Yes, C.
That is true. That was, yeah.
Let's say, I would be very dumb if I didn't get that,
Yeah,
since
that
we have
one-
so many
Oh,
interrogation
man.
scenes.
Season 5, you would have been out for sure if you would have gotten that
Yeah.
one. Okay, and this is our final question. What does the term Code 10-4 mean? Does it mean negative, do not pursue, a request for backup, an acknowledgement of the message, or an officer in distress?
On 3, Venus. 1, 2, 3. C.
Yep, that's it. That's it. It's definitely C. That one, it helps that it's used with many different things, truckers and everything else like that. 10-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
10-4,
around-
good buddy.
Yeah. Well, do you guys want to know who won? Does it matter?
Todd won. Todd didn't miss a single one, right?
I think Todd missed one, and I think it was near the beginning. Unless
Oh,
I'm
did I
mistaken.
miss one?
I think I.
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
yeah. It's it, you.
As long as I
prob-
beat her by 1, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I don't have an award
Season.
or a trophy or anything, Todd. Or maybe I do, and I'll just send it to you in the mail.
Hey, us being on Angel's platform is reward enough. So we thank you.
Yes.
Well, I thank you so much. Thank you both for coming on and spending some time to answer some of our fun questions and play this game with us. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your work on Vindication. Like I said earlier, if you're part of the Angel audience, if you're watching this live stream, go watch the show if you haven't. You are missing out. And the great thing about this show, joining the Angel platform, is there's so much of it right now. You don't have to wait. There's seasons 1 through now 4. So you can binge. You can spend a whole weekend, just go through this thing. Take the time. You won't regret it. Venus and Todd, do you have any final words? Venus, let's start with you if you have anything left to say.
I guess I don't.
No, that's fine. That's totally all right. Go watch the show as a perfect ending.
I just appreciate you doing this and letting us share, kind of our experience with Vindication. So thank you for having this.
Yeah. And just to the viewers, I hope you'll watch. I hope you'll enjoy it. We've loved being a part of the show and are really proud of the show, and that it deals with hard topics that we need to discuss, but they're not gratuitous. And so thank you for watching.
Great. Well, thank you both again, and have a wonderful evening. And thank you all for tuning in, and have a good one.